I think the final question should be buy it or borrow it. Welcome back. My name is Ravishan, as you already know, and this is my lovely wife,
Sindhu.
We are going to try to make the longest case for buying physical books and physical music.
Physical music as in like CDs and vinyl or whatever, or cassette tapes, whatever floats your boat. As opposed to the digital format where you just kind of download it off Spotify or stream it.
Or PDFs or ebooks.
Or ebooks, Kindling, I don't know what that is.
We're going to talk about a book,
a CD each that we like. Since we are going to make a case for physical books and physical CDs, the question is going to be, is it worth buying, having it on your shelf, having it in your collection, or just streaming it on Spotify or renting it out of the library? Yeah? Buy it or borrow it.
Buy it or borrow it.
I prefer shelve it or stream it. Oh no, but then you can't stream a book.
You can't stream a book.
I don't know, we're still workbooking the name. So for right now, we'll just keep it to buy it or borrow it.
Workshopping the name.
Workshopping.
Totally unscripted. Mm-hmm. So unscripted that... Oops, bugger it. Am I dark? Am I visible? Maybe I should come over there.
Yeah, and
your skin tone is luminous.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So today's book is... So it's gonna be Martin Amis's London Fields, which we both read and had differing opinions on. So let's go with you, because you're the OG fan of Martin Amis.
I'm the what do you call him?
Fanboy.
The Amisite.
You.
You want to talk about? I mean, before we start, do you want to talk about the book cover? And I don't know, I feel like packaging of physical books and media, it plays an important role. I don't think a book should be judged by the cover, or a CD should be judged by the cover, but...
It's nice to look at.
It's nice to look at, and in this day and age where books and CDs and vinyl and cassettes, they're competing against really cheap online alternatives, they have to make a case. They have to make you want to buy it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the cover?
Yeah, I actually didn't know this was kind of like an R-rated cover for the longest time. Just because, I don't know, I just didn't look at it from afar. I'm more detail-oriented, I guess.
It's like a zoomed-in...
So, I don't know they're going to notice.
It's a zoomed-in nudie.
So, it's a nude...
I think we're going to get banned. No, we're not going to get banned.
Are we going to get banned? But you can just...
Well, it's R-rated.
It's R-rated.
We'll R-rate this video, something like that.
We'll R-rate it, not for kids.
Not for kids. Not for kids. Amis is not for kids.
Stay away, kids.
Stay away, kids.
I'll tell you my first impressions. I was not impressed with the cover. I read this at the recommendation of Mr. Ravishan. He said, you gotta read it. It's great. It's fantastic. So I'll let you say why it's fantastic. Why do you think it's great?
You want to say... You want? I think we should give out a shout-out to the cover designer. I mean, we talked about how important the cover is.
That's true. Okay, fine.
We should...
Okay, so the cover design is by Ideology, and the cover image is by Ian Jackson.
And this is the Penguin...
A Penguin book of fiction.
Edition.
Okay, so I'm going to read the blurb to you. London Fields is more complex and affecting than its predecessor, Money, or the nuclear-haunted short stories of Einstein's Monsters. It is a State of England novel that also examines the state of the writer. He gives us a true story, a murder story, a love story, and a thriller, bursting with humor, sex, and often dazzling language. Wendy Steiner in The Independent. Yeah, so that's a commentary, but it doesn't really tell us about the plot very much. So I'll let you give a brief plot of this.
Plot is very simple. It's this love triangle between the girl who wants to get murdered, the guy who wants to murder her. There's the poor fool that she plays with, Keith Talent, Nicola Six, and Guy Clinch.
Okay, so you said this was a triangle.
Yeah.
I beg to differ. I believe it is a square.
Very good observation. It is a square.
Or a rectangle, as it were.
Or a square.
Rectangle because there is some distance between one point. So maybe like a really weird, like, what's it called? Like a rhombus or something?
Rhombus?
Okay. So, I forgot what I was going to say.
You said it was a rhombus, some kind of...
A kind of rhombus because the author of this novel...
A love rhombus.
...is actually the fourth point in the story. So you're kind of tricked into thinking that he's just a narrator. But he's actually a key part of this book.
He's also a participant.
A participant as well. Okay, so...
So it's... the murderee, Nicola Six, the femme fatale. Then there is Guy Clinch, the poor fool who gets played around.
Who is incidentally not poor but very rich.
Very rich. And then there is the streetwise, pitiable, half thug, half...
Not quite pitiable.
Not quite pitiable.
Basically a thug who has grand ambitions of becoming a darts champion.
On TV. TV ambitions.
TV ambitions. So not just be a darts champion, but get it captured on TV.
So, the girl who wants to get murdered, or the murderee, she has, as, you know, some people are motivated by Eros, so she is by Thanatos, the death instinct.
Okay.
And she wants to be artistic. She wants her life to be turned into art. And die for it.
Okay.
And then you should start with Nicola Six, who she is. And I'll say one character, you say one character. We'll split the 4 points.
Okay, cool.
And then the plot.
Okay.
And then what you thought about the whole book overall. And then what I thought about the book overall.
Yeah. So this book... So Nicola Six, like Ravishan said, get it? She's a femme fatale. She wants to die. She's convinced that she's going to be murdered and killed. She's just choosing the person who will kill her. So, and she's just, the whole book is just her throwing herself at Keith because
Keith Talent.
The thug, trying to get him to kill her. So the whole, I don't know, I didn't really like her character that much. I couldn't really kind of connect because she was very like very impulsive. You know, there are characters who are completely the opposite of you, who you can kind of sympathize with and empathize with. But to me, Nicola seemed a bit soulless, and I couldn't really kind of get on the wavelength or kind of...
Identify with her? Is that what you're trying to say?
Identify with what she wanted to do, or the way she was going about it. Something just didn't sit well with me.
Did you find her motivations believable? Why she wanted to murder herself?
Yeah, it just seemed like very kind of drawn out. Like, why couldn't she just kill herself if she really wanted to? There have been so many books about... Oh God, this is a controversial opinion. Like there are books about people who are suicidal and about the journey they take.
But is she suicidal or is she destructive? She wants to...
She seems destructive, and she seems to be placing the burden of that destruction on other people, and seems to think that she's doing a pretty good job.
Do you not think that she thinks that she's the Armageddon, that she wants to take the world with her?
Yeah, so she's a bit self-important, and she's kind of very confident in her abilities, and I don't know, there's something, I don't know, she seemed like a very flat character to me. Just scheming, but there didn't seem to be another side. There wasn't much else going on that kind of made me want to read more about her. To me, I was more interested in Keith. He seemed more...
Keith Talent. The thug.
The thug. He seemed more entertaining.
You can't call him a thug. He's a cheat.
He's a thug.
He's a cheat.
Didn't he beat someone up? No.
No, that's Chick Purchase.
Oh, he got beaten up.
He always gets beaten up. Keith Talent, we'll talk about him in a bit. I mean, that's another character.
Yeah. So
So no for you. You weren't impressed by Nicola Six.
I was not impressed by her, and I didn't really get the whole fuss about her. I get that she's supposed to be this kind of person, but I
what kind of what's
It's like, you know, someone who, you know, everybody drops what they're doing and watches her, but you know, her personality seemed very drab.
Is she a manic pixie girl? No.
No, just someone, I don't know. She seemed very flat to me, and her motivations, you know, even for like wanting to destroy her life and herself and kind of go towards impending death. Like there wasn't a why. Like why? Like if you're so able to control these men and things, like why not aspire to something? You know, why destruction?
For me, I think that kind of that right there, your inability to identify with the character, that forms the basis of our dissent.
Yes. Why? You identify with that character?
I don't identify with any characters of any book that I read. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, if I'm reading about a murder, doesn't mean that I want to sympathize with the murderer. That's not how it is. It's just she didn't seem like a believable person to me. She just seemed like this cutout, a cardboard cutout who we were supposed to kind of believe was alive. That's
I agree. In a way, I think you're right. She's more of an instrument to the plot.
Exactly.
Than a character by herself. I agree.
Yeah.
But I on my part am convinced of her motives.
Okay.
I think she's a kind of artist manque.
I don't know what that means.
So the people who want to be artists, but don't.
Okay.
Because they spend most of their lives dabbling away at a talent, something that they're second best at.
Okay, makes sense.
I think she's an actress.
Okay.
Playing an actress.
Okay.
In real life.
Okay.
An actress's idea of an actress.
Okay.
That's where the flatness comes from.
Yeah. Because it's just like the kind of veneer of
stage.
Fame and that kind of external.
Centrality. That kind of, she understands the kind of central force.
Okay.
The centripetal force.
Yeah.
Or centrifugal force that a character in a movie or play has. And she knows that she has that force.
And she's just playing that role.
She's playing that role and bending others to her force field.
Yeah, that's a good description. Do you want to move on to the other characters, or do you have anything to add?
No. So I think
that's pretty much Nicola.
You weren't impressed. I, on the other hand, I was convinced of her motives, but I do agree. She's more of an instrument to the plot than a character. Yeah,
so at the beginning you're kind of tricked into thinking that she's the main character. She is not.
Which makes us move on to character number 2, Keith Talent, the cheat, the guy
murderer.
who the
murderer? No.
Well,
the would-be
murderer, or is he the would-be murderer? It's a question to be asked for till later on.
Okay.
We're not going to read the book, we don't need to. The guy, the usual suspect, the guy who everybody thinks is going to end up being the murderer.
He has all the hallmarks.
He has all the makings of a murderer.
Yeah, and he gets himself into some situations where you're like, okay, you know what?
Except, like Amis describes him in his prose, he looks more like, he aspired to be a murderer, but he looks more like the murderer's dog.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Criminal's dog, murderer's dog.
I don't remember that part.
His diet is made of beer, pornography, and nuclear level goat curry.
Yeah, and he's basically a despicable man who treats his wife really badly.
And his numerous
girlfriends who he also treats awfully. Basically pretty villainous as they come for a everyday kind of guy.
But nevertheless, I find him very pitiable.
He's pitiable. He's an embarrassment to himself. You see that he's embarrassing himself, and maybe that is why you pity him, because he embarrasses himself.
I think he's the life of the book.
He is the life. He is very much the life. He has the most personality of anyone in the book.
Every page that he comes on is a romp.
That's true. And he's alive. And Amis describes him very well and his activities very well.
Amis has the talent to show you the criminal with his pants down.
Yeah, he does appear often with his pants
down.
So he's very active. He's swearing, obsessive, egomaniac, who believes in his talent in darts, and wants to be on TV and wants to be famous and believes that it is his true calling. He also takes it very seriously and does not like people joking around or disparaging his darts game.
Don't you find it very hilarious?
It is hilarious. It is hilarious, yeah. So I wasn't. This is not like a haha book, you know. You're not gonna read it and go like, oh my god, that's hilarious, what a guy. It's more of an inward, silent chuckle in your mind, like yes, and then you quickly move on. So, yeah. So, do you have anything to add about Keith, or should we get to the next?
No, the next character.
Yeah. So the next character is Guy Clinch.
Guy Clinch.
To me, he was even more pathetic.
He's supposed to be pathetic.
He's very pathetic and easily detestable because he's so weak. He's a rich man who is trying to be unfaithful to his wife with Nicola Six, gets an obsession with her, and is just always like a downer, like a mopey kind of guy, just kind of around trying to slum it with Keith Talent and the other bar hoodlums. And I didn't like him very much either. He was just mopey and just kind of depressing to read about, frankly.
Did you root for Guy Clinch and Nicola?
Not at all. Not for one moment, because
you do know that from the outset, we are informed of Nicola's determination
to
up herself and drag people down with it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so we know that this is not going to happen. Guy Clinch and Nicola.
They could have got together before she offed herself. She was just dangling him along.
Do you think that the plot offers enough room for the characters to make free decisions, for them to go off character? Or does it feel like the plot is so rigid that the book ends very predictably?
The ending was just really disappointing to me. I just felt like it was building up. The whole book, I just kept thinking, oh, you know what? This is because it was just a consistent kind of just the same thing over and over again. Don't get me wrong. Martin Amis in this book is an excellent writer. But it was pretty much the same thing over and over again. We get it. Nicola is self-obsessed. We got it. Guy is pathetic. We got it. So Keith is an awful human being. We get it. It was just for me reiterations of the same characteristics with different incidents. So first, for example, if you take Keith Talent, for me, like Amy sets it up in the beginning that he's a thief. He swindles old ladies, and then later it's shown to kind of sleep around and physically abuse the people he sleeps with. And then, you get it as a reader, you understand, okay, this guy is awful. But it just keeps happening. It's just like, okay, he's also bad. To me, it just turned into, oh, look at the new ways in which Keith is awful. Or look at the new ways in which Guy is depressing. So I was expecting a really grand ending to compensate for this, multiplying awfulness. And it was just a giant letdown for me, the ending, and I felt kind of cheated by the end.
The ending is also just like Keith Talent, a cheat. We'll talk about the ending later.
Yeah.
But
your thoughts on Guy?
The fourth guy.
You didn't say anything about Guy.
Well, about Guy, I mean, again, I don't identify with characters. I don't go around identifying with characters.
No, but what do you think about him? Like, is it what's he?
I think he's pathetic, and he's meant to be pathetic.
But is he? He was given a lot of space in the book.
So
I don't think he deserves that space because he's just.
I'm going to explain. I'll explain what I think about Guy and what I think about what you said. The multiplying awfulness. The same characteristics permeated in a different setting. Later, after I tell you about the fourth character, who is the person who is narrating this book, another writer.
I've forgotten his name already. Samson Young.
So Samson Young is the guy who is our narrator, and well, turns out to be, that's the ending, an unreliable narrator, who is lodging in England. Samson Young is an American going to England at a time when the English are flying over to America, seeking fame and fortune and centrality, worldliness. So Samson Young's, what shall I say, a guy who has a secret that we shall get to know much later. His motivations are usually envy.
And he too is obsessed with Nicola 6.
He too is obsessed with Nicola 6, which makes this love triangle, Sindhu said, a love rhombus.
Yeah.
And later on becomes a participant in the plot as well as its narrator.
So he's in a peculiar position. So whereas Guy and Keith are kind of pawns in Nicola 6's kind of universe, Sam is her confessional. So she confesses all her kind of motives and desires to this author Sam, and so we're kind of tricked into thinking that he's just a kind of archivist taking down notes just to write a book about it. But do you want to say what?
Well, I mean, that's as far as you need to know about it, unless you really want to know the ending. The ending is not exactly what you're expecting it to be, but also kind of what you're expecting it to be, which is why it's a letdown.
It's a very big letdown.
To me, this book is, or Amos, and Amos's books are what Quentin Tarantino's movies are to Movieland.
Yeah.
How in Inglourious Bastards, if you were entertained watching Inglourious Bastards, that pub shootout scene,
okay,
and you realize that it's a play on the it's a play on a Mexican standoff from the old spaghetti westerns, but except happening under the table while they're playing Guess Who's Who, with stickers on their forehead, while each of them is a spy for another country, so on and so on. So many layers of deception, and it's a game. So I think that's what this book is. This is a game for people who like literary puzzles.
Okay, so.
And and that's why I think, what for you were multiplications and repetitions of the same formula, for me are parodies of one technique and one convention.
Okay, so I agree with you. I see what you mean. So this book, don't get me wrong, when I say I don't like it, it's not because it's written badly. I see that he's a very talented writer, and I know what he's trying to do. Where this failed me though was on the plot. So whereas Quentin Tarantino, because we're doing the comparison, is a great storyteller in that the ending, the whole plot, there's an arc, a well-built arc, and it's kind of brought to fruition.
Fruition.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been saying fruition my whole life. We have to check this.
It's fruition.
Fruition? Oh my god. Okay. We're gonna double check that. I think
anything that's not a fruition. This book, the plot is a vegetation. The plot in this book is a vegetation.
See, why can't you say fruition then?
Fruition.
Fruition. I'm gonna Google this right now.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. So, whereas Quentin Tarantino, breaks barriers and does new things, he's also a great plotter. This is, the plot was not that great. So if you like Ravishan, are a connoisseur in the arts and you see literary technique where you read. So we're different kinds of readers in that sense, where I read more with impression. Like for me, it's about when I'm reading something, what's the overall impression? How does it make me feel? Whereas Ravishan is more clinical about it and he's seeing sentence structures and word, how they go together, kind of like a chemistry kind of environment, like a chemist in a lab. You're seeing things, how they're kind of being mixed and brought together.
I do understand what you're saying, and I do agree that even a writer as good as Martin Amis, pulling off tricks as intelligent as those that appear in this book should still satisfy the primitive expectations that every single reader has, including me, including any, I think every reader, no matter, still has a desire to see a story well told. True. And a shaking ending.
Okay.
A quaking ending.
So should we ask the question?
Yeah.
Buy it or borrow it?
No question for me. This is a absolute must-have book.
Yeah.
I would buy it over and over again. And I do have, this is the second book in the London trilogy. I have all three. I have more than that. I have pretty much everything he wrote. Okay,
so for me, this is a borrow it, unfortunately. It's, and I did borrow it from Ravishan. So there's something else that we didn't really discuss. It's just that this, it's a little bit of a downer, this book. It's not like a happy story. And I like to see...
What is a happy story? Is Salman Rushdie a happy writer?
No, he's not happy. It's just, it's a bit
because joyless. I know you love Salman Rushdie.
I do love Salman Rushdie. So for me, this is a little bit of a joyless book. And I'm me personally, as a reader, I like to collect books, that I'm going to read over and over again. Where if I'm just, feeling a little down, I just open and I just read it and I'm like... So those are the kind of books that I really want on my shelf. Not that I'm like always a happy ending kind of person, but
because this book Rushdie's endings are not happy.
Yeah, they're kind of bittersweet usually. Yeah. So for me, this is a borrow it, just because I couldn't relate to any of the characters personally, and for me it's a borrow it. But you like the drab, the miserable.
Is it drab though?
Okay, so this leads us to our next portion. The CD section.
The CD section.
For us in our collection. Okay.
But you're going to show yours first? Or?
I'm going to show mine first. So my selection for today is this lovely album.
I'm just going to bring it.
Why is that? No, you had to hold it a bit further.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is... the Division Bell album by Pink Floyd. So initially, don't come for me, haters. I wasn't a Pink Floyd gal, but they're really a band that grows on you, and sometimes I don't know. I think I was resistant to them just because.
Be careful, CDs inside.
I know. I was going to talk about that.
Okay. Unsafe. It's bad packaging.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The packaging, I would be very nervous. Wait, I'll just tell you what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So this is a band that I really grew to love. I love this album by Pink Floyd. I believe it is my favorite. And especially on this. So Pink Floyd, this album was produced by Bob Ezrin and David Gilmour. And mastered by, is that relevant? Who it was
I mean, if you
mastered
want
by?
to.
James Guthrie and Joel...
James Guthrie?
Guthrie?
I think so.
No, Guthrie. It's very German.
It's Guthrie.
Guthrie? Something else to Google. And Joel Plante at Das Boot Recording.
Do you want to say something about the cover design?
Yeah, I'm going to say something. So, this is pretty cool. Two metal kind of structures and a kind of in a field and a castle in the background. It also inside kind of different photographs of the same thing. I'm showing it. It's my show and tell. And yeah, and I did not realize this had a booklet inside because it does. And also the kind of same. Yeah, so my favorite songs on this are What Do You Want From Me, Poles Apart, no, not Poles Apart, Wearing the Inside Out, and High Hopes. So the mood in this album is very kind of chilled out. It's one of those songs that I listen to when I'm kind of stressed out and I just want to kind of de-escalate the stress. And this album kind of comes to you in waves. Like, it's very relaxing. So I looked them up on Wikipedia, and apparently they are a British psychedelic band, which I can kind of see because they're very kind of relaxing, very chilled out. And I especially like High Hopes. The vocals are great.
What do you think about the solo, the massive grand solo?
Amazing. Like, I was trying to post this on my Instagram, the song, and I couldn't choose my favorite part. And it's just the whole song. Like, just listen to the whole album. That's something we've been discussing as well, where, there's this tendency, I don't know. Like, I used to listen to music like this, where I just listen to one song. But album this great, you just have to listen to the album first second of the track to the last second of the last track. It's just that great, and it really kind of gives you that atmosphere and that emotion. So I'm definitely a fan of Pink Floyd now, and this is my favorite album, The Division Bell.
Yeah, like you said, I am definitely of the opinion, and I do advocate listening to albums from start to finish, 0 to whatever, 1 hour. Take 1 hour of your life and just sit through it. It's meant to be heard from beginning to end.
True. And this album, I really get disappointed when it ends. It's so amazing. You just kind of, you're when you're in that mood, you just want it to keep kind of doing its thing. And yeah, I could listen to this over and over again, frankly.
Did you know that by the time they recorded this album, their former lyricist and bassist, Roger Waters, had left the band acrimoniously. And the lyrics to most of these songs were written by David Gilmour, the guitarist's wife and vocalist.
Well, she's very talented.
What do you think about the lyrics?
I think they're great. They're very deep. So this is something I see compared to, some other bands. There is definitely some thought in the lyrics. And it's not something that's empty or just random or put together.
And this happens to be my second favorite Pink Floyd album.
What's your first?
My first is Wish You Were Here.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
We have that album.
We do have that album.
Okay,
maybe I will give it a listen as well, properly. So I'm notoriously moody about the music I listen to. So when the mood strikes, so...
You should also listen to Animals, Middle. Amazing album, Middle.
Okay. So I have some more listening to do. But I'm still such a huge fan of this one. I'm just going to listen to it till...
Buy it or borrow it.
Definitely. 100% buy it.
Would you recommend this to Pink Floyd fans, rock fans, hip-hop fans, any kind of music lover?
Yes, for sure. Because I didn't, there's this kind of cult image that Pink Floyd has, and they're usually kind of bearded old men wearing Pink Floyd t-shirts, or even young, hipster-looking people. So it kind of, for me, that was personally a bit off-putting, but then it's just all just external stuff. I think Pink Floyd is, this album especially, anyone can relate to it. It's just so chilled out. So if you're stressed out and you just want to kind of unwind, this is a great album. Okay.
Nice thoughts.
And you want to...
So my album, keep
great.
in mind though, I do love Pink Floyd too, also.
Hi.
But the album that I'm going to talk about today is...
What is that?
I don't know, can focus. Can
What's
you
it called?
focus?
I can't even see the name.
This is Mental Funeral by Autopsy. I don't know whether you can
It's
focus.
focusing.
People have to see the artwork because this is one of the best album artworks out there.
Is it?
It is. I mean, the artwork captures, just Google it. I mean, Autopsy, Mental Funeral from 1991. The artwork perfectly captures what music you're going to hear in the can. This kind of disgusting, herniated, slimy, toothy monster.
I can't wait to listen to it.
I mean, so this is what you would classify as death metal.
So the juk kind of music.
There's a lot of juk. There are
kind of music. There's a lot of juk.
also blast beats.
What are blast beats?
Double kick drums, and then
Like a...
no. Well, I'll play it for you.
Please don't.
Well, it's the cymbal and the...
Oh, I can
the
imagine. I
snare.
can kind of imagine like a... No.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's okay. You know what? I'm just gonna listen to it.
You should give it a listen. You should absolutely give it a listen because
Okay.
I know you like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
If you like, this is the album that you should listen to if you like Black Sabbath and you want to know where the Black Sabbath sound can go. And this can be a perfect gateway.
But I think Black Sabbath, they do what they do well. Like, they don't need to evolve into anything else.
They don't need to, but somebody took that sound to somewhere else.
Okay, I see that. Like a different diverging.
Yeah, I mean, the songs on it, the first song is called Twisted Mass of Burnt Decay.
Poetic.
There's a song called Robbing the Grave, Torn from the Womb. So this is what you would call doom, death doom, or death metal with doom metal influences. So it's what you get if you mix a band like Black Sabbath. That's where the word the doom descriptor comes from. The kind of trance-like music.
Okay.
With the kind of thrashiness of a band like you listen to Metallica.
I have.
That's the best description that I can give.
Okay.
Maybe not Metallica. Metallica is not the best descriptor.
Okay.
Something fast.
Okay.
So
Maybe we should do a live listening of one of these where you
Should we do it?
subject me to your metal
and you subject
album.
me to your music.
But then my music is very eclectic and you already like it. I know you like my music.
There is some stuff that I may not like.
Like what?
Coldplay.
I don't like Coldplay so much. They're a bit...
So you don't like Coldplay either.
No, I do like some of their songs, but they're not... That's a whole other thing.
Okay, that's a whole other thing. But for the moment, do go listen to this album. And this can be the gateway to the wonderful cavern of death metal.
The gateway to the wonderful cavern of death metal.
Meant to be
So then
silly.
wrap
Oh,
it
we'll wrap it up. The battery's about to die. The lyrics are meant to be silly. They're not to be taken seriously. The music is amazing. It's, like I said, trance-like. It's what you would call sludgy, and in turn sludgy and fast.
This is basically the opposite of Pink Floyd.
You could say that. Anyway, we're wrapping up for today. For me, definitely buy. I don't care. This is the album that you should listen to if you hate death metal. This will cure your hatred of death metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that seems to be all we have time for today. So we will be doing more videos like this, whether you like it or not.
Or not.
It will be coming out on YouTube soon. If you like this video, just like and subscribe, and we'll see you around.
Tell us how we should improve or what we should add to the video.
Yeah, if there's something you think, you know what, you were going somewhere and I want to hear more about that, or...
You want to hear more about the writers past, more about the bands past, the band members, the kind of production process, whatever.
But isn't that what Wikipedia is for?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see you around then.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you when we see you.
Over and out.
Over and out. If you hear a very urgent, soul-wrenching cry, that's our cat, Porgy.
Porgy.
Asking for a pre-snack.
Should we introduce her?
For a snack? No, it's going to be too messy.
Okay, fine. This is our baby.
Okay.